You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
It's time to get set for an Edmonton Oilers hockey game that won't feature.
There you go.
Decent execution, I think. The idea was good.
It was, I played it in my mind and it seemed amazing. It might have been like Emmy worthy. Is this show up for an Emmy? Can it be up
It
for
could
an
be.
Emmy?
I had a dream about that the other day, that we got nominated for an award.
What's the Canadian Emmys? What's the Edmonton Emmys? The Eddies. There it is.
The Eddies.
What are the Canadian Emmys?
Well, it used to be the
Junos.
Geminis, but they
Yeah.
got
Junos is music.
repurposed. There's a new name for the Geminis. I don't know what it is.
The Tonys is not it, is it?
Tonys are like
That's
Broadway.
theater.
That's Broadway.
Well,
We could start
we
singing.
could. I sing most times before the show.
Yeah.
Do you?
Very, very often, yes.
Oh, wow. The Oilers are without Connor in Minnesota.
Ooh, yeah.
All right. It's a Sherwood Giant Game Day edition of the show.
Musical edition.
Welcome into the Sports Closet studio, sportscloset.ca. You need some gear for the big game on Sunday. You know the Sports Closet has you covered, not just jerseys. They got the hats, the hoodies, the shirts, everything. Over on the Century Mile Racetrack and Casino YouTube chat, Rusty, our boy, the Reckless Optimist. We need some optimism today,
Yes.
Rusty.
Rusty, put it in my veins.
He says, is it time to start freaking out about the lines again?
Whoa, are you freaking out, Rusty?
Tyler
Come on, buddy.
Tyler Mulikop's in and says, don't worry, Mattias Janmark will fill the 64-goal, 89-assist hole in our top line.
You're like, now is not the time to be a downer. We have to lift these boys up.
Yep.
Lift them.
Yeah, something's got to happen, that's for sure.
I believe in
Something's
them.
got to happen.
You're in a great mood
Jay's
today.
bringing the energy
Ooh,
today, and I'm here
yeah.
for it.
Well, the minute you go musical, like,
Yeah. it's true.
hey, we have to bring some positivity to this.
Mhm.
And I'm going to go completely off script and say Pitch Perfect is one of the best movie trilogies out there.
do you know what? I would tend to agree.
Uh,
It's not very often you'll get a strong sequel to the first one. The third one wasn't as good as the first two.
It ends good, though. That song at the end's powerful.
Flashlight.
Yeah, no, that's the second one.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Because they all come
the
back. at
third
end
one
of
is
the
when
third
she
one.
wins the DJ Khaled contest and gets to now go on tour with him.
In Germany,
And it's
yes.
Bella's coming out party.
That's right. Yes, of course.
And she sings Freedom.
Right. My apologies.
You know these movies really well.
I have watched them a lot, Tyler.
they are very good. They are very good.
Fair enough. All right. Oilers heading to Minnesota tonight. A little one-game road trip for the team. Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show. Jay, you are a fellow Sherwood Ford the Giant customer. How depressing is it? I mean, it's great that you can open the app and start your vehicle from the app, but now that we're back in vehicle starting season, it's kind of sad.
I drive a Ford Bronco. I am ready for the winter. Bring it on.
Fair enough. All right. Oilers taking on the Minnesota Wild tonight. In their last 5 seasons against the Wild, the Oilers are 3-9. Not great, but don't worry. They're in Minnesota. Surely
Without
they're
McDavid, so don't worry at all.
Surely they're better in Minnesota. No. In their last 6 games in Minnesota, the team is 1-5, and they've been outscored 22-14 in the process. The
Because
Oilers,
Minnesota is a fun vacuum.
sure, although I would argue over the last couple of years, they've become less of a fun vacuum, a pretty exciting team with some good young players. We'll get into that throughout the show. Seth Toupal will join us. He's from Locked On Wild. He's going to break down this thing from a Wild perspective. Got some questions about their lineup because there's a few players I feel like maybe casual fans don't know about who they should probably start paying attention to. There's some good talent on this Wild roster. But first, I just want to start with a general question. Sherwood Ford Giant question, you could say.
Hit me.
What are you expecting from this team tonight without Connor McDavid? Like, do you think there's a chance that we get the best effort we've seen from them all year, and they're maybe ready to fight for their captain a little bit?
I mean, you would hope so, at least. I think, you know what, like, obviously McDavid's going to be a big factor missing. I think they'll miss him mostly on the power play is when he'll be the biggest noticeable part. But like, they've gone back to the lines tonight that everyone's familiar with already. The top line is obviously mixed up with Janmark being on the first line, but the second and third line have played together a lot this season already. So I think it's just going to have to be a strong team effort from everybody.
I'm still, staying positive, positive. Yeah, I think this is going to be the best ever because they don't have a choice. They got to play for their captain because they got to play without their captain. So I feel like they're going to show up tonight. It's just going to be one of those ones. We suck in Minnesota. It's boring in Minnesota. So what are we going to do? We're going to go win a boring game in Minnesota.
Perfect.
Looking at the way the Wild season has been going, tonight actually might not be that boring. I'll have a little bit more on that in just a second. But I think we have seen at times the Oilers go and kind of show their best when they don't have Connor. I talked about this yesterday on the show, Jay, but do you remember that game a few years ago against the Pittsburgh Penguins at Rogers Place? Oilers are getting worked. McDavid goes down the tunnel. We are all freaking out. It was a Wednesday night, national TV in both Canada and the US, and they were down like 3-1. McDavid went down the tunnel. Draisaitl scored like a goal of the year candidate. They played like 11 minutes of unbelievable hockey. Connor came back. Game was totally different, and I think they finished off the comeback and won that game ultimately. They have this ability, it seems, to dig deep. I would say, though, there's pressure on everyone, and maybe pressure's not the right word, so I'll say Leon Draisaitl will likely play tonight with a bit of a chip on his shoulder. I think these are the moments where he's got to sit there and go, a lot of people around the league say I'm the power play merchant who rides McDavid's coattails. This is your time to show that you're not that. I don't believe he is, by the way. I think he's more than capable of driving a team himself, but this is a unique opportunity for him to prove it.
Yeah, it's his chance. And, he's put the team on his back before. And it's, this, I think for a guy like Leon, he's a gamer. So I feel like this will be a motivation for him tonight. Mm-hmm. And yeah, get ready. I tweeted yesterday, I hope he ate his Wheaties because probably going to play 30 minutes tonight, Leon. We need you. Yeah.
They might need a real big performance from big number 29. But also, I mean, we spent a lot of time in the offseason, Liam, talking about how the depth of this team is better.
Yeah.
They should be better equipped to withstand this than they have in years past.
Janmark's on the first line.
Janmark is on the first line.
Well,
I'm surprised Connor Brown isn't getting a shot in the first line tonight.
He hasn't earned it, man.
I know,
That's
but like,
the thing.
I don't know if anyone else has really earned it either. I guess Janmark was actually
Janmark's
pretty
working
good
his
last
tail
game.
off at least, but like
I'm sure that's the plan they have as well is Janmark will just go get the pucks.
Okay. Janmark as a teenager, probably in the like the national system for Sweden, probably scored a lot of goals.
Let's have a look.
Most of these kids did when they were young.
Mm-hmm.
Can he find that inner child?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
That was beautiful.
Mattias Janmark, when in the year 08-09 playing in the U18 team, he scored 16 goals in 22 games.
That's pretty good.
23 goals in 2012 as well.
Did he play on the World Junior team? No.
No.
He was a third round pick though.
Yeah.
I found that game by Connor McDavid left.
Okay.
So the Oilers were down 3-1.
Mm-hmm. So I was right there.
McDavid left the game.
Mm-hmm.
The Oilers scored 4 goals in the second period. Tyson Berry assisted by Draisaitl. Evander Kane assisted by Draisaitl. Nuge chipped in with a goal, not assisted by Draisaitl, and Draisaitl made it 5-3.
That was I think the Draisaitl goal is the one where he like walked up.
Yeah, it specifically says now that the NHL has upgraded their website, shot backhand.
Yeah, there you go.
I remember that one. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the Oilers have the ability to dig deep. Should we just get into the lines? Let's get into the lines. Brought to you by Sherwood Ford, the Giant AB's got them pulled up here. The top line for the Edmonton Oilers, centered by Connor McDavid. Wait, no. Damn. It's Leon Draisaitl with Evander Kane and Mattias Janmark. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with Zach Hyman and Warren Fogle. Ryan McLeod with Connor Brown and Dylan Holloway. The extra forwards are expected to be Adam Ernie and Derek Ryan. They're going with an 11-7 approach. Here is my best attempt at justifying Mattias Janmark being on the top line. I think that third line plays very, very well together.
Yeah. Can't break them up.
That second line has had a couple of very, very good games together.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're Jay Woodcroft, you know you're going to need a hell of an effort from all three lines. You're putting Draisaitl with 2 guys.
He's
one in
got
the
to drag 2 guys around the ice.
Yeah, but I think
Janmark will put in the effort, but Kane, he's got to drag right now.
The upside of this is a second and third line that have both looked very, 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 very good together so far this season. So what's the saying? Don't cut off your nose to spite your face or something like that.
Never cut off your nose. That should just be a golden rule. Never cut off your nose.
Sure.
Don't judge a book by its cover. Might be another good one.
Well, I don't know if that necessarily applies
we're
here, but
judging it being like, oh, this does not look good. And then you open the book and it might be pretty good. We'll find out.
yeah, and sure,
at
the
6.
inside of the book is that the second and third lines are good. And I
Yes.
don't think
The title of the book, Connor McDavid's not starting.
Don't cut
Yeah.
off your nose.
I just think
Don't cut off your nose. Connor McDavid's not in the lineup story.
maybe we're overreacting a little bit to labeling these as first, second, and third lines, when in reality, this is an 11-7 approach, one. So Draisaitl's probably going to get some shifts.
Maybe Nurse up on the wing.
Oh, God, Jay, don't say that. You know that drives me nuts.
Nurse on the wing. Playing with the big boy.
I think maybe
Doesn't
we're just
need to play D anymore. He is now a forward.
got it out
Yeah.
of you. You good?
Oh, no.
I
The
just think
music of Minnesota.
I think maybe we're overreacting to the top line thing. I think the second and third lines have shown they've played together really well. And at the end of the day, you need some sort of a miracle to fill the hole that Connor McDavid leaves in your lineup. Maybe you just get 2 good games out of Mattias Janmark this week.
You know what you're gonna get? You know what you're gonna get? That third line is they're having it's their coming out party. Dylan Holloway is taking a big step tonight. Why? Because he went to school in Wisconsin, and that's damn close to Minnesota.
Mhm.
Sure.
I think your
Math checks out.
justification of it is the only way to.
I think so.
justify it.
It's
Like,
just
it's the only
Woodcroft
way to
sat
go
there and
around
said,
it.
who's my best third line? That's my best third
Yeah.
line. Who's my best second line?
We're
That's my
building
best
the
second
team
line.
around our third line.
I think in
We're
a
gonna build it
weird
around there.
I think in
Times
a
are
weird
tough.
twist the way you are.
I'm not disagreeing with your logic, but it's also kind of funny. It's right, probably.
It's almost the complete opposite of what the others do every night. We'll build around the first line and hope everything else works. Where
You
tonight it's like, well,
draft,
we'll
you
see what
draft
happens
for your
everywhere
bottom
else.
6 and then build around that.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
tonight we
So
don't.
do you not agree with this Janmark decision? If you were building the lines, if you could Freaky Friday body swap with Jay Woodcroft, what would you do?
Well, you're not wrong. I'm just making fun of the situation.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny that we have to respect our third line. Who have they scored?
No.
No,
So they haven't scored,
I know.
right? But we can't break it up because they're putting in the best effort, which I agree with.
Yeah.
That we have to create this, and also the second line, which has been good. That we have to create this really weird first line. I just hope Leon's going up and down the lineup, and I know in 11-7 he will be, but it's just funny. Kane's been terrible.
Mhm.
Janmark's Janmark. You know you get with the Janmark. I like Janmark as a depth forward,
I like him as a fourth liner.
right? It's just funny. It should be Connor Brown slotting in there,
Probably should be.
but he hasn't earned it.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
So
It's
it's it's very funny. We think we have a deep roster, but we're so fragile that we can't break up our third line that hasn't scored yet.
So that third line so far this season has played 1854 together at 5-on-5.
They've been good, I know, but let's just talk. We're just talking about it.
Yeah. They also haven't given up a goal, which is, I think, something to note, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty trustworthy line in Jay Woodcroft's eyes. So again, you're hoping with Leon Draisaitl on the ice, good things are going to happen anyways, and he has that kind of gear to kick into tonight. And then I think the other part of this was just building some lines that Jay Woodcroft could really, really trust. Even Nugent-Hopkins, Fogle, and Hyman, 16 minutes together at 5-on-5, they haven't been scored on yet. So again, you're putting together lines that just aren't going to burn you, and then hoping someone has a big game. And I don't hate the approach as much as I maybe did when I read it on Bob Stauffer's tweet this morning and was like, holy shit, what's going on?
It's yes, but yes, but we don't have Connor McDavid gets out of the lineup, gets hurt.
Yep.
And we don't even have remotely close to a first line right now. It's barely, that first line is barely a second line at the moment. So our first line is our second line. Our first line is our second line. I don't even know what to call our first line. It's just Leon Draisaitl.
We need to clip that and just zoom in on Jay with all the numbers floating.
Well,
in.
I'm saying that, but I'm wait a minute. Where do you put the first line? It's to me, I just see Leon Draisaitl.
The wing pairing that have allowed the most goals 5-on-5 this season, Evander, Kane, and Connor Brown.
So probably don't want to play
So,
those two guys together.
Connor
No.
McDavid between the
And,
two.
and that's Woody playing the numbers. You gotta spread out the liabilities at the moment. Insulated with McLeod and Holloway.
It is funny how we're like, what are we, 5-6 games into the season now?
Yeah.
And the depth doesn't appear to be anywhere where all summer, and it is there.
And we opened
obviously.
up this show saying we have depth, just for the record.
We do
Just
have
keep it in
depth.
tabs.
It's just not playing well enough right now. Like,
Yep.
it's funny. Like that third line, like you said, has been excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every game they've played together, but they don't have a goal. And against Nashville, they really didn't produce much until the third period when the game was already gone. Like that line needs to step up tonight and create chaos. Like they're a chaotic group, but
They can buzz around.
they're not chaotic in the good areas too at the same time. Like you never really see him like at the net and stuff like that, right? You need Connor Brown to be at the net whilst Holloway is
he a
like,
net
flying
guy?
in. I don't know, but he needs to be.
I
would-
that's just a generic, like I just don't know.
I
Is
think he probably
McLeod is not. He loves the perimeter. He loves to buzz around. Holloway could be like Holloway's strong.
He's an everything guy.
Maybe he should take over the net, but he also can buzz.
you need him to buzz. Brown's
But-
got to find the net.
But are they so Connor Brown needs to be the net guy. He's got to be the badger.
Ryan says, are we reading too much into it, considering it's just wing pairs with rotating centermen? And that could very well end up
Well,
being
how
the
else
case
are we
too.
supposed to fill an hour of show? Okay.
Well, we're going to dig into the Minnesota Wild side of things. And yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Riley is in with one. He says, I understand what Tyler is saying, but at the same time, are we just doing mental gymnastics to buy that top line? Smart people can justify anything. That's why cults have higher IQs on average. I didn't pre-read that. Maybe I should have. You calling us a cult?
You could have just stopped.
Well, we are a very passionate fan base. That would be culty.
Yeah. Smart people can justify anything. Sure. If you want to give me that much credit in my justification of this, why not? You know who probably does hold the keys to a victory tonight? The keys to victory for sure for the Giant? It's our boy Jack Campbell, who's going to get the start. He's going to go head-to-head with Philip Gustafson. Jack Campbell's numbers look okay. Save percentage is above 900. That's kind of what we've set as the bar for Campbell this season, is if he can be above 900.
Think about how the start he had. Like, he had a claw back from 750 to get to 902. That's pretty good.
And against Philly, like, he wasn't terrible. 4 goals on 32 shots. There was the one we really wanted him to have back, the shorty. But other than that, I thought he was fine. He was obviously lights out against Nashville. Maybe this is the Campbell we're getting, where it's below average start, great start. Below average start, great start. And he'll piece the season together that way.
Let's look at Gustafson. He has a shutout, and he's only a 906.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Think
so
about that.
Philip Gustafson, very, very interesting start to the season because it's similar to Campbell in a sense, where
He's Jekyll and Hyde.
it's been a bit of a roller coaster. Starts the season with a 41 save shutout of the Florida Panthers. Second game of the year, 7 goals on 33 shots to the Leafs. Third game of the year, 5 goals on 54 shots to the Minnesota Wild.
He's just tired at that point.
And a lot of those goals against the Leafs came in the third period, didn't they? No,
Yeah.
Wasn't it 3-3 after 2?
Yeah.
Something like that.
All
So
right.
maybe the Oilers will get a third period goal tonight.
Oh,
would
well,
be
we got to
big.
bring the effort in
That
the
would be
third
sick.
period. That's the thing.
They brought it last game. Last game, it was there in the third.
And also
the
just
first time.
just taking a look at the Minnesota Wild so far, and we'll get into our game notes in a second. But when they've gone up against, I mean, I shouldn't even say good hockey teams. They've been exposed a couple of times by teams. Florida put up 40 plus shots on them. Columbus put up 50 plus shots on them. And that was their last game actually on October 21st. So again, this is a Minnesota team that has kind of been exposed at different points early on in the season. It has not been a great start to the year for them. So again, maybe some areas for the Oilers to get to in this one. Let's get to our game notes for this one and the matchup against the Wild. And it is brought to you by our friends at Wendy's. We are launching a Survivor game over at dailyfaceoff.com. It's coming in the next few days, hoping to get that launched up right away. But you know what's very real and very spectacular? The new burger at Wendy's, the barbecue bacon cheeseburger. The cheese oozes and melts. They got not onions on there, Liam. The little crunchy onions are in there.
Nice.
And the barbecue sauce, I can't tell if this is on purpose from Wendy's or if I'm just soft. The barbecue sauce has a bit of a bite to it. It's a little spicy.
Might be a bit of both.
I think you're a little bit
I think
soft,
Tyler
but-
finds mayonnaise spicy.
Hey now, how about you try the burger and then you let me know if it's spicy or not?
Yeah, well, trust me, I'm going to be trying it.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm all about the fried
And get
onions.
inside JBC.
I said it before. I used to put onion rings on a burger. They just do the fried onions. It's
you go.
fantastic. It's a little bit lighter, squeezes down a little bit easier. It's better.
We're working on something. It's gonna be a lot of those burgers in my future, and I can't wait.
All right. Digging into some numbers for this one, the Minnesota Wild to start the season, 2-2-1 through 5 games. They are 9th in the league in goals for per game, 30th in goals against per game. On average, their games have seen 7.8 goals total. Maybe a little bit of a sneaky overnight. We'll talk about that later in the show for Betway.
We contribute to the over, though? We need to contribute to it.
Yeah. So far, their special teams have been incredibly mid, 14th in power play percentage, 16th in PK percentage. The special teams battle, very interesting to break down in this hockey game, because how will the Oilers power play look without Connor McDavid? This is another lineup decision I kind of wanted to get into. Evander Kane getting reps in the bumper spot at Oilers practice. I honestly think the best move would have been to just put Ryan McLeod up on the Oilers top power play unit.
Or why don't you put a second defenseman?
Darnell Nurse then, yeah.
Like, just completely flip the script. Because, like, yeah, McLeod maybe, but, like, you can't fill that McDavid role of buzzing around and making those, like, plays and passes.
But
like,
he'd help you on the rush. He'd be that McDavid speed.
He can help you on the rush.
Yeah.
But, like, that's it. So, I think you got to go, like, old school and, like, a lot of, like, pressure from the point, collapse. Like, if Kane's going to be on the ice, put some meat in there and just fight in the paint.
I think
it doesn't need to be pretty for the next little while. It's just got to be enough until Connor gets back.
Odin says it here, but maybe they're hoping that this is just some gravy minutes to get Evander Kane going.
I think that's what they need more than anything. Like, if David's not in the lineup, then you need other guys to contribute. And Kane last game was better from him in spurts. So I think they need him to finally break out. And I think giving him the maximum opportunity to do so is only going to help that. And we can talk about earned and everything, but like at this point, it's just like, okay, someone needs to
just get it done. Yeah. We just got to get it done.
And I think that's another part of it here is when you're missing, obviously, the biggest piece in your lineup, the best player in the game, you kind of don't have the luxury to be looking around and going, who earns it? I'm going to sit you because you're not playing well. If you're Jay Woodcroft, you almost have to wipe the slate clean for tonight and be like, I don't care what Evander Kane said after the game or during the game. I don't care how he's playing. Don't care about anything. I'm going with trustworthy and guys with upside. And I mean, again, Janmark and Kane. It's trustworthy on one end and it's a guy with upside on the other. I also, just digging into this lineup, I wonder if maybe they shouldn't have looked at calling someone up. I know it's early in the year, but you're looking for someone to come give you an offensive spark for a few games. Could probably swap Adam Ernie for someone.
Who?
Probably Lavoie. Right? Like, I mean, why would you not bring him up and give him a look with a skilled guy? This seems like the perfect time to do it for a couple games. He'd help you score, and you're probably going to have issues scoring.
Yeah, I kind of thought about that a little bit too, calling somebody up. And by all accounts, Lavoie has been pretty good to start the season in Bakersfield.
Saw Ryan Holtz say he put forth a man against boys performance.
I bet you, depending on what happens tonight, a call up could be in our future. If we don't perform tonight, you can almost guarantee there'll be a call up.
I feel like I want Adam Ernie in the lineup because he's kind of the only guy to me that has sandpaper when I look at that.
But do you need sandpaper or do you need
without Connor McDavid, I don't know. I might need a little bit of everything else to pick up.
I just want effort.
I think
and goals.
It's just Ernie's.
Well, I shouldn't say effort because then we'd just be celebrating the third line and planning the parade around an amazing line that isn't scoring.
What about maybe Kajula would have been a good option? I get it. Like, he's not been
Drake.
I just mean in the sense of like he's gonna give you that energy and like a little bit of grittiness, and he has some offense to him. We've seen it, right? Like
$2 tacos and margarita special, the Bakersfield Condors.
That would have been a great sale on a Tuesday.
What are you guys talking about?
I'm on the Bakersfield website. Yes. I was gonna look at their numbers.
I was also very confused.
I don't know. The Oilers at least have options in Bakersfield. Ben Gleason, 2 points in 2 games. Same with Lavoie down there, 2 assists.
Drake Kajula's only scored 5 goals since the beginning of the 2020 season in the NHL, and he's played like 50-some games.
How many years Lavoie scored?
Touche. Can't argue against that.
The math checks out.
Also, Drake Kajula he's going with the full shaved head look now.
Really?
Yeah, I'm looking at his profile on NHL.com.
Yeah, he looks, wow, look at that.
I bumped into him. I went to one of the Oilers preseason games, and he was walking around the concourse with all the suit guys.
Drake
And
Caggiula was?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I bumped into him, and I had the, holy cow, he's bald now? Like, I'd do a triple take. Looks good.
Apparently,
More aerodynamic.
Michael in the chat says Caggiula's out for 2 months.
Ah, well, that'll throw a wrench in your plans.
That'll get you. That'll probably stop you from calling him up. Don't think you'll help that much. But yeah, I do agree with your point, Jay. I think like if tonight goes bad, if they lose, like knock on wood, they lose 5-1 tonight.
Yeah.
We're probably getting a recall tomorrow at some point.
But let's be real for a second.
Okay.
We can't lose tonight.
Cannot lose.
We just
tonight.
cannot lose tonight. We can't. I can't handle it anymore. I'm preaching patience. I'm held together by just the remaining positive thoughts I have and Excel gum. I'm falling apart at the seams here.
Remember when the Wild used to play at the XL Energy Center?
What is it now?
It's got to be something different. Minnesota.
I thought it still was.
Maybe it is. Maybe. It is. Yeah, it still is the XL Energy Center.
It's so boring. They've had the same name forever.
Yeah. Classic Minnesota. Although their rink is nice. I'd love to go watch a game there.
I know.
The green seats are so
cool. Could have went Monday Night Football Oiler game back to back, man.
I know. I saw all the traveling media guys were at the game last night. That's sick. That football stadium out there looks awesome. Naeem is in. Any chance Jeff Jackson fires Holland before the deadline? I think we're losing the plot a little bit here.
Let's relax, people.
Like 1-3-1, not great. I do get your point, Jay. 1-4-1 would be very ugly. Like
I know it's
at some point it gets late early.
At some point we have the guts to get out of this, but we got to show the guts. I want to see the guts. Halloween's close. Show me your guts.
Again, if there's ever a reason, or if there was ever going to be a motivating factor for this team to dig deep and find a way to get a dub, it's
do it for your goddamn captain.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Over on the Century Mile Racetrack and Casino YouTube chat, a lot of people saying you got to show a little urgency. 100%. That's going to be the big thing. Like it wasn't there against Philly. I thought it came back in waves against Winnipeg. That's why we updated the give a shit meter, and we put the Oilers and the Jets were pretty close on our give a shit meter after last game. I'm hoping that when we update this thing again tonight, the Oilers are like way up there. The Wild can be wherever. Doesn't matter if you outwork them.
I'd put the Oilers a little bit higher on the meter.
I will be updating that later tonight.
The other night.
So we're also going into this game. The whole joke about Minnesota is they have how much in dead cap space?
15 million.
Well, with Connor on the IR, aren't we very similar?
14.7. Then Connor would be 12.5. Yep.
So it's pretty evenly matched up. Just see some perspective there.
Sure. I have some cap related questions to ask our Wild guest when he jumps in here. But first, we got a question in here from our boy Nils, who I believe is one of our German friends. He wants to know our thoughts on the Frozen Frenzy thing the NHL is doing tonight. It is the first time in NHL history that there are 16 games on the schedule. Here's a quick look at what you got tonight. It gets going at 4:00 Mountain with the Leafs and Caps, and it wraps up at 9:00 Mountain is when the Philly Vegas game starts, which means for Flyers fans, they'll be watching Game 7 NLCS and then rolling to a Flyers game that starts at 11 Eastern. Insane. Nils says it's weird. It's on a Tuesday, and I agree with him 100%. I like the theory behind this, but putting it on Tuesday is odd.
Yeah. I like the idea. I'd like to know why they went on a Tuesday.
Like put it on a Friday or a Saturday, and it's probably way more electric.
You could start at like 10 a.m.
Saturday's hockey day. It writes itself.
Yeah. Or you should have done this to kick off the season.
Look at Liam.
Liam,
it's outrageous. The schedule is awful. It's so bad all the time. Why are we doing this on Tuesday? Do you know what? This would have been a great Friday. You can try and get out of work a little bit early to go and catch a game. Mm-hmm. Leads all the way through, and then you kick off your weekend. But then you know what the NHL would have done? Played one game on Saturday. And then it probably would have been one game on Sunday too. So maybe that would have been a terrible idea too. But the NHL, I like the idea, but shockingly they missed again.
I know you hate the schedule.
It's so bad in every single way.
Well, the schedule, as someone who's part of the Nation Vacation Planning Committee, it is always the minute the schedule comes out, you always hope is this the year that shit's gonna line up? and never does. We're going to places on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Places sometimes on a weekend, sometimes
Well,
on a
lucky.
family day long weekend.
Yeah, Jake says what makes me mad is that there's then one game tomorrow. And yeah, that was
And
the
there
other
was one
shitty
game
part.
last night.
One game last night, one game today. Like you probably could have scheduled a few more back-to-backs in this thing. Frank also brought up an interesting point. How did they make this work with enough referees? Like how deep did they have to dig to get 16 sets of officials? Because that usually wouldn't be that big of an issue.
They must have that many. That must be every ref in the cover because refs are always traveling.
Yeah, I guess.
So if they all just, and that's probably why they can only have one game tomorrow because like there's all this logistics.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Seems so silly.
I don't know, but it's yeah. Like there's nothing to like celebrate around it. Like
It's just a thing they're doing.
does that get you?
It's
does
not
that
like
get
some
you
sort of
amped?
anniversary of like the league or something like that. It's literally just like, hey, let's try this.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see if the ESPN Frozen whatever red zone thing works.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like
I
the
don't-
Octo box.
Pretty much, yeah. So you can go, ESPN's gonna have a broadcast with John Buccigross. That is just him sitting there being like, let's go to this game. Let's go to this game. 4 games up. 3 of them are on the power play.
Well, if
That
that's
sounds
why they're
awesome.
trying it, then I'm for it because it's
Mhm.
about trying to grow the game in the States. And like, red zone is like so popular that if you could do it and it works and people get, then maybe on a Saturday you make it so every team always plays on a Saturday.
This is the beta test.
and you have the Octo box going.
yeah.
Do you want to know another thing about tonight? That just doesn't really help this at all. The NBA starts tonight.
Oh, tonight's NBA season.
NBA starts.
So why would you not do this last
Oh,
Tuesday when there was no
Lakers
NBA on?
and Denver go head to head
Yeah.
at 5:30, which I think is when the bulk of these games start. And then you have the Suns and the Warriors. Like, come on. Like, do it tomorrow. I don't know. Do it yesterday.
Yeah, do it on a Monday. Like, yeah, I think you're right with that. All right, our guest is running a couple minutes late. We're going to catch up with Seth Toupal in just a second. But before we do that, let's get to the Minnesota Wild side of things in their lineup report for our friends at Sherwood Ford. Top line for the Wild, Ryan Hartman, Matt Zuccarello, and Kirill Kaprizov. Ryan Hartman is a guy, like, they picked this dude up off the scrap heap, and he is a legit top 6 centerman for them. I think he makes like 1.5 million this year as well. Like 1.7 million this year.
Wow.
He grinds for him. Like he's going to be a thorn in the Oilers side tonight. I like Ryan Hartman a lot.
Yeah, I like him too. He's a player I would like to see in copper and blue one day, if I had to be honest.
Even the extension they gave him, like he's
4
only
million?
$4 million. And how did they get him again? They got him. Oh, they picked him up as a UFA on July 1. This guy's been traded 3 times in his career already. Took him till, basically 21-22 when he would have been 27 to pop when he scored 34 goals that season. So I like Ryan Hartman. He centers their top line with Kaprizov and Zuccarello. Joel Eriksson Ek with Marcus Johansson and
Patrick Maroon.
Patrick Maroon on the right side. So
Where's Boldy? Is he hurt?
Yes.
yeah, Boldy's out.
Yes, sir.
Let's
missed-
go.
So they have way more cap space with Boldy out too.
They are actually very banged up. They're missing Mason Shaw, Matt Boldy, Jared Spurgeon, and Alex Goski tonight.
Oh, the Goose.
The thing I want to talk about with Maroon, remember the last time the Oilers played him?
Oh yeah,
Remember he started a bit of a brouhaha and he clipped McDavid, knocked him down. It was a whole thing.
that's not what I was thinking.
You're thinking of Evander Kane?
Yeah, he was the one who hurt Evander Kane.
Was it the same
Accidentally,
game?
No, they
obviously.
played after that back in Edmonton.
I forgot about that one, but
'Cause,
that's what
yeah.
came to mind.
Marco Rossi will center Frederick Goudreau and Marcus Foligno. Connor Dewar with Brandon Duhaime and Vinny Laterra. Brandon Duhaime, I think, scored 2 shorthanded goals in like 35 seconds against the Habs last week.
I remember.
I thought now if you score a shorthanded goal, the penalty's over.
What?
I wish. Yeah, there's a lot.
Isn't that-
Oh, that was presented in Europe or something like that. They're
Oh.
trying out those
Oh,
rules.
yeah. that
I
is-
feel like it's like being discussed though and
Yeah.
coming down the pipe.
It's one of those trial things that I think the NHL is keeping an eye on.
Yeah.
I think it's the SHL that's doing it. Yeah, if you score a shorthanded goal, your guy gets to come out of the box. It's like double jeopardy.
Double Jeopardy.
Do you know what double jeopardy is?
Nope.
Okay.
All right, blue
I did-
line for
thought
the
it was a
Minnesota
daily
Wild.
double.
Jonas Brodin with Kalen Addison, Jacob Middleton with Brock Faber, Dakota Mermis, who I did not know was a person until now, is playing with John Merrill. So again, they're missing a couple bodies on the back end, but they got a couple of young pieces there. Like Brock Faber is going to be legit. I'm a big Brock Faber guy.
Yeah, I like how he wears glasses. Did you know that?
That's what you like
On the
about
ice?
Yeah, not on the ice, off the ice. But every time he
There's
does
like
something,
80% of NHLers wear glasses.
I know, but
80-0.
I like him because
former
he has
Daily Faceoff
contacts.
man Chris Peters,
Yeah.
who also a fellow glasses wearer, every time Brock Faber does something, he tweets out like a picture of Brock Faber. It just makes me.
All right.
Do you have a fetish for glasses?
No,
That's weird, man.
We had Waz's glasses on the show yesterday.
We did.
2 days in a row.
Okay, so far our analysis of the Minnesota Wild lineup has been, I don't know that guy, and I like him because he wears glasses. So I think we need some help in this department, boys.
Matt Zuccarello is the not self-proclaimed, because that means he would proclaim it, but people of Norway proclaimed Prince.
All right.
That's fair
of Norway.
We need help breaking down the Minnesota Wilds. Let's go to the Star Mechanical guest line, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find them online, starmechanical.ca. Seth Toupal is the host of Locked On Wild, and he joins us on the show. Seth, a sigh of relief for Wild fans because they get to face an Oilers team that doesn't have Connor McDavid tonight. Just maybe give us a little bit on how the start of the season's gone for Minnesota.
Well, it's been a rocky one, to say the least, and there's been a lot of defensive breakdowns that have led to teams being able to just score at will against Philip Gustafsson, who's a pretty darn good goalie. It's been just an inability to defend the front of the net. Turnovers in the defensive zone have led to a ton of chances. It's been 65 high danger chances for opponents so far this season in 5 games. Just did a show on this today. 65 high danger chances, 48 high danger shots. So you're giving up roughly 10 high danger shots a game, which is just too much for a goalie to do. So the Wild need to tighten things up defensively to be able to get back on track. It's been rough so far to start the season.
So you would say the absence of Jared Spurgeon has become very present in this team right now?
Yes, they miss him dearly. And it's interesting because one of the things that I think they've struggled with most is just keeping the front of the net clean. And it's not something you think of with Spurgeon, but recalling back to just previous seasons, he is somebody that does like to kind of get in the front of the net and try to keep things going. But they have missed every second of what he brings on the ice from a communication standpoint, from a production standpoint, from a leadership standpoint. It's a glaring hole that this team just has not been able to fill so far.
So you've told us a bunch of reasons why we shouldn't be scared of the Minnesota Wild. Maybe tell us some reasons why we should be scared of the Minnesota Wild.
Well, we have been waiting for Kirill Kaprizov to get going, and I say that almost tongue-in-cheek because he has scored a couple of goals so far this season, but just quite hasn't looked like Kirill Kaprizov, and everybody around the NHL knows once he gets going, he can give you 2-3 goals in the snap of a finger. And so if that line can get their production going, if we can get some good production from the second line, which looked great against Columbus, that top 6 can be a problem for anybody out there, and especially with, as I'm sure you guys have discussed, the goaltending for the Oilers so far this season. You don't want to see things snowball. And so if this Wild offense can start to get some consistent traction going, they can score goals in bunches.
One guy who's helping juice up the offense a little bit is Joel Eriksson Ek. 7 points already on the season. The easy pot shot to take at the Minnesota Wild is the dead cap space and be like, 14 point whatever million. It's hilarious. It's also very easy to overcome that when you can have a guy like Joel Eriksson Ek making $5.25 million. Like, what a steal of a contract. Does he look like a guy who's maybe ready to take another step forward this year?
He does. And we know all the things that he brings defensively, the face-offs, the physical play, being just a complete pain to play against. Opponents regularly mention how they don't like playing against him because of what he does out on the ice. But if you can take all of that and all of a sudden now he turns into a 30-goal scorer, that's a guy who is a huge piece for this Minnesota Wild team. And he's the net front guy in the power play. He just is feasting on his opportunities. And so if you can get a 30-goal season out of Joel Eriksson Ek this year at $5 million, that is a bargain.
Yeah, your top 6 centers making a combined basically $7 million, $6.95 million. That is quite the nice piece of work there by Billy Guerin, the former Oiler. Billy Guerin. I always think it's interesting to ask fans about what they think about their team's GMs, because I think you always have a rosier view as an outsider. Like, Oilers fans frustrated with Ken Holland all the time. Other people from outside might not quite understand that, considering the team appears to be built well. I look at what Bill Guerin's done in Minnesota, and it's like, man, there's some great signings in here. That Philip Gustafson for Cam Talbot trade might go down as one of the best trades of the last decade in the NHL. Do Wild fans love Bill Guerin? Do you think he's properly appreciated?
Well, it's funny because I think up until recently, fans were fully behind him with what he was trying to do, navigate through the rest of these dead cap hits, and then really make some big splashes and try to put a team together to make a legitimate run at the Stanley Cup. Fans see this as an old roster that has not had any success in the postseason. And so seeing guys like Matt Zuccarello, Ryan Hartman, Marcus Foligno all get locked into long-term deals is frustrating, because people, I think, assumed that we were going to get kind of a blank canvas once these buyouts are done. But Bill Guerin values the continuity. He values the fact that this is a playoff caliber team every single season, and wants to keep this nucleus together so that you're trying to fill one or two holes as opposed to trying to fill entire lines worth of players and relying on prospects who sometimes do, yes, pan out. But let's be honest, a lot of times prospects don't. So it's a situation where fans, I think, just kind of want to get through these next 2 years. It's going to be fascinating to see how it plays out.
Yeah, it really is. But I think another thing that maybe works in Guerin's favor in that argument, like, all you got to do is get in. Like, I know the Florida Panthers are now the easy example with all of this, but it doesn't matter what seed you are. If you get to the big dance, and I mean, they got a goalie like Philip Gustafson, who, when he's hot, like we saw last year, one of the best goalies in the league, man. All they got to do is just keep getting in, and this team at least has the ability to scrap their way through a few rounds, I think.
Yeah, it's a situation where they just have to execute their system. It's a system that over the last few years has beaten almost every team that there is in the NHL. It's a little harder in the postseason when you're playing the same team over and over, because you get kind of the tell on your opponent gets a tell on you, and then it gets a little easier to exploit some of those weaknesses that you have. But bottom line is, this has been a playoff team over the last few seasons. Yes, you'd like to see a little bit more postseason success, but ultimately that will come. And it's just a matter of just staying healthy and playing your best hockey as the postseason gets going.
Last one. This one came in from the YouTube chat from Naeem, who wants to know how Marco Rossi's been looking this year.
You know, I have been impressed with what we've seen from Rossi so far. There was a lot of pressure on him last season to come in and I think be a top 6 guy right away, because he was taken 9th overall. Your expectation is he's going to be one of those guys, and it just didn't work out from the get-go. He played 20 games. He had 1 point. And so he spent the rest of the year in Iowa, worked on the other aspects of his game. And this year he has come up. He's winning battles on the boards. He is just flying around with energy. And I think the fact that there's been less pressure on him to score has helped him just focus on being an NHL guy. And the question can't be debated right now. He is an NHL guy. So he has accomplished that so far this season. I think, honestly, he probably should have 3 or 4 goals at this point. Just has had a couple that have not quite gone in. So if he just continues at it like he has, he's going to be just fine.
A Minnesota Wild team looking to find some consistency, an Edmonton Oilers team looking to sneak out a win without the best player in the world. It's going to be an interesting one tonight, and we appreciate you giving us some insight here, Seth.
My pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
There you go. Seth Toupal from Locked On Wild. I tagged him in a tweet as well, if you would like to go give him a follow. Oh, damn it. I forgot to ask him about Brandon Duhaime. Oh, I promised him I would. His thing says he's the president of the Brandon Duhaime fan club. Seth, you're still there. Tell me why we should love Brandon Duhaime.
Yeah, I got you guys. Duhaime, honestly, he's a fun player to watch because he plays with a ton of energy. He throws his weight around. He's not the biggest guy, but he still throws his weight around like he's somebody that weighs, 230, 240. And he just provides a spark. He provides a spark every time he's on the ice, whether it be shorthanded goals, as you guys alluded to before I hopped on, or just throwing the gloves down on somebody. He provides energy that this team needs. And it's easy to like the top level guys on your team, But if you can find somebody that's more of a bottom six performer and really rally behind them, that's where the real stories come from.
Okay, now we'll let you go. We'll let you get on with your day. Thank you, Seth.
Thanks, guys.
There you go. Seth Toupal on the Star Mechanical guest line. StarMechanical.ca. Giddy up. Oilers Wild tonight, 7 o'clock. Puck drop with me, which means 6 o'clock start for pre-gaming with Bordsy, myself, Aaron, Pat Puff, going live hour before the game to get you all set up for this matchup once again. Giddy up.
That's
Big
right.
content
That's
day.
right. Come hang out in the chat. Tyler, we're going to be breaking this one down. I think tonight I also have Mr. Zach Lang for Oilers Nation After Dark, which I always like watching a game with Zach because he kind of watches it differently than I do. He's very analytical too.
Yeah.
Very statistic based. It's going to be nice. Maybe we can clash a little bit tonight.
Pre-gaming with Bordsy, Oilers Nation After Dark tonight on the Oilers Nation YouTube. If you're not subscribed already, you're insane and you should do it.
Well, and 30,000 subs
Means a
unlocks
boudoir. Yeah.
a prize for everyone.
17,400 right now. So we got to get on that, people. Come
A
on.
lot of work to do. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, please.
Let's get to tonight's menu. It's delivered by DoorDash. Ding dong. Let DoorDash be your holiday hack this holiday season. You agreed to host a big party. What's going on out there? Come on, I'm in the middle of an ad read.
They're filming Waz TikToks.
Was TikToks. Use the promo code at the top of your screen. If you're one of our listeners in Canada, you can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more. Download the DoorDash app, enter that code, all caps, Nation25. Dash that for the win. Tonight, the appetizer, I suppose, is the fact that it is game 7 of the NLCS, but that does get going at 6 o'clock tonight. That should be a very good baseball game, though.
Were you surprised by the outcome yesterday? The Rangers going to the finals?
Well, especially because the Astros, they go up and, they're down 3-1 after the first, but I just felt like that Astros team was going to have the ability to dig deep. I can't believe how Houston or Texas just rolled them.
Yeah, crazy stuff happening in baseball nowadays.
Mercy.
Imagine if the Jays were there.
How you got to say shit like that?
Well,
All I can do is imagine, Liam.
Conversation.
But if you
rolling.
watch the teams that are playing right now, you understand why the Jays aren't there.
Quite frankly, on paper, I don't understand why the Jays aren't there.
Nope.
Their pitching was excellent.
Yep.
And their batting lineup is probably one of the best in the league, and they sucked.
Well,
yeah, they just joked.
Can't get picked off on second base, Vlad.
Hey,
you got to also hit the baseball.
I know. That's why I said on paper.
So, but I'm like, okay, all right.
That's what
Eye test.
Eye
How do they
test.
compare against the teams that are currently still in?
I'm surprised they made the playoffs.
There you go. That's what I was looking for.
Phillies and Diamondbacks tonight should be a very, very good one. Playoff baseball is the best. But of course, what you all care about the most is the big slate of 16 NHL
I've got what
games.
you and Frank like here.
Yeah, there you go. The Frank and I did our 3 games to watch on either side around the league this evening. I did Buffalo, Ottawa, Edmonton, Mini, Philly, Vegas are my 3. Frank did
Buffalo
Toronto.
Auto is a good pick.
Yeah. Frank had Buffalo, Ottawa 2. Then he also had Rangers, Calgary, and Leafs, Caps. And his Leafs, Caps should be good just to kick off the day. Ovi's in a slump, man. If he doesn't score tonight,
the Caps are toast.
I think they might be too. But if Ovi doesn't score tonight, I think it's the longest goalless drought of his career.
Did he get a shot?
Yeah, he's got a shot.
He's got a shot now.
Yeah.
That's a crazy stat. The fact he went back-to-back games and it was the first time in his career.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
There is the full Tuesday slate. What kind of excites you guys?
Carolina, Tampa Bay is going to be very good, I think.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of goals there because goaltending apparently just doesn't exist in either market at the moment. So that'll be big. New Jersey, Montreal will be fun.
Yep.
I think
Could be high scoring.
Montreal has been interesting.
Yes.
Crappy.
Pesky.
Disappointed in the Sabres start this year, though. This is a big game for them tonight against Ottawa because they're a couple games under 500. Tage Thompson only has 1 point.
And they're two teams that are kind of compared to one
Yeah.
another as coming up together. So this is like a derby, if you will.
That's the game for me tonight. I had both of those teams making the playoffs. So they, like you said, they're very similar. And I think they're taking that next step. It'll be nice to watch a couple of young teams going at it.
I think the Yotes and Kings could be decent.
I was this close to throwing some money on the Yotes, but then they announced Ingram's getting the start, not Vamelka, and I can't do that.
Fair enough.
I like them though as dogs. I like them as dogs.
Oilers are dogs.
Oilers are dogs tonight, which ties into our Betway segment 19 plus. Please play responsibly. The Oilers, yes, underdogs on the money line as they roll into Minnesota. That's your dog? More of a howl?
Maybe it was my call for the Wild.
Yeah.
Did you not I was almost today years old, but maybe a year and a half ago years old. when I realized there was a bear in the Wild logo.
I can't believe that. Whenever people say like, "Oh, I never saw that," I'm stunned. How do you not see that?
The dress is blue, and there was no fucking bear there until a year and a half ago.
I agree that the dress is blue, but the bear's always been there. If you want to get real greedy,
it is like so obvious.
So
Like,
what did you
it's
think
such
it
an
was?
obvious bear that you almost feel like you should spray it with bear spray. It's almost that fucking in your face.
It's a great logo, to be honest. Underrated.
It's awesome logo.
I did
Underrated
not
logo.
know what it meant.
And when they wear
And is
their
Minnesota really bear country?
probably.
Come up here, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you some bears.
Remember,
Yeah.
I saw a bear this summer. It was
Whoa.
scary.
Really? What kind of bear?
Black bear.
Yeah,
Wow.
Very
Saw him
common.
twice.
Twice.
Same one.
Yeah, we were on. First off, I was scared. I'm not afraid to
yeah.
admit that. I was frightened.
It's
It's
a
a bear.
goddamn bear, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It's okay.
We messed up a
So
few words.
we just finished putting on one hole. We were golfing at Grey Wolf out in Inverness.
Oh yeah, that's bear country.
Yeah. And I was about to start driving, and my dad was like, "Whoa, there's a bear!" And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "It just ran across." So we called the clubhouse, and
They don't care.
Yeah, and they were like, "Okay, thanks, keep driving." And I was like, "What the hell? Like that's a bear." Anyways, went to the next hole, played the next hole. It was like a long par 5, and we got to the end. There was washrooms there. Stopped to the washrooms. My girlfriend came out of the washroom, and the bear was like 20 feet away from the bathroom door.
Yeah,
When I teed off at Grey Wolf, and this is like a bunch of courses, but like the starter was like, yeah, there's been we've seen 3 bears in the course today. All good. Enjoy your round.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never seen a bear.
So after we saw that bear again, it did look similar to this, but black.
Not green.
I could never get it. And I'm like, oh, they're like out in the wild.
You just thought it was like a cool shape.
Yeah. Well, I actually never got the shape.
I'm going to be totally honest with you. We're in the safe space until we just started talking about this.
You didn't know there was a
didn't
bear.
know there was a bear head, Aaron.
I didn't think that.
Because you're
I
not
didn't-
looking for it like
exactly,
the
I didn't-
wild. Like, oh,
I
they're
didn't
out in the
think
wilderness.
that much about it. I just always thought of it as a wild something.
Well, what's wild short for? Wilderness. And that just looks like the
Yeah,
wilderness.
I don't know. Is that necessarily a bear, or is that
No,
just
that's a
an animal?
goddamn bear, bro.
Could be a wolf.
Yeah.
It's got the nose, it's got the mouth.
We're gonna take that bear down tonight.
Oh man, that is a bear. Well, it could be like a cougar or something, but it's bear.
Okay, Oilers are dogs in this hockey game. We are also bringing back our very popular segment, our head-to-head matchup. The three of us picking a bet every day, and we're going to be tracking it
We
throughout
got
the
a better
year
way out of here.
to see who's the best. Let's flash up the board here. This is what we got tonight. Liam chose the photos.
These photos are electric.
Liam, you can go first.
That's me on the roof of Little Brick.
Yeah, I googled your name and that came up. So I thought it'd be a good option.
That was an article for
The
the
Edmonton Sun?
2017 playoffs.
Look great.
Why were
Yeah.
you on the roof of Little Brick?
I don't know, because like, oh, let's do like a epic photo that's got like downtown in the backdrop. Like the only way to do that is we go on the roof of Little Brick.
You haven't aged
Okay.
a day.
Okay, so you're doing Draisailt over 1.5.
Argue that.
Yeah, I mean, why not, right? He's done it
Self-explanatory.
pretty much every game but one.
I'm going Zach Hyman
What, two?
over 3.5 shots, paying out a rather nice plus 125. Zach Hyman has only hit this in 2 of 5 games to start the year, but did it against Winnipeg, playing up with Leon Draisaitl, playing back on the second line with Nugent and Fogle, and I think that line's going to get a lot of good stuff done, so I like it.
And I'm just, this is like the Oilers are just gonna be the Oilers and do something that they're not supposed to do, and that's win without Connor McDavid in Minnesota. And it was plus or
Plus
2.05, as I like to call it.
The Minnesota Wild have allowed more than 30 shots in 3 of their 5 games. The 2 games that they didn't, 27 and 28. They have not been very good at keeping teams off the shot clock. Betway has the Oilers to get more than 31 shots netted, even money. Tempting.
Ooh, that is nice. What's the face-offs? know you
Face
like
off.
Oh, I got dragged into the weeds of face-offs. You
Oilers to win
You
the most
guys.
face-offs tonight, minus 110. So
Not
we'll
bad.
go do a quick amount of research here. The Oilers in face-off win percentage this season currently rank 16th in the NHL, dead in the middle. The Wild are all the way down at 28th.
Ooh.
Think about those numbers.
there's an edge.
There's an edge there.
I know
so
you
anyways,
did- you
these
did
are
this to
three
me
bets.
last time.
Aaron will be giving his picks on pregame with Bordsy later today.
Yep.
So look forward to that.
10 likes away. Sorry, 10 likes away.
Did
What
we
was our
set a
goal?
like goal?
It's 97,
97.
every day this week.
Oh, we were willing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I like. And have you shared your storyline for Heritage Classic on this show?
Oh yeah, my theory about
Yeah.
McDavid's going to be back.
Yeah.
I'm very confident.
I'm
in that.
with it.
I'm growing
all
more and
about
more
it.
confident by the moment.
by the moment.
Yep. Every
Woodcroft
second of it.
addressed
Is it sold out, Jim?
And what did he say? What did he say, Liam?
So
He, wasn't
they're
it
still
something
promoting
like
tickets for sale.
anything could happen, basically?
Damn right, anything can happen. Woody, because he's in on the conspiracy.
He's part of it.
It's a conspiracy to sell the last remaining tickets.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to keep the hope. At least
will
that
never
Connor
die,
will
Aaron.
play. So,
Well,
so
then
you wanna
it'll
you wanna
just
get
be
out some
like
tickets.
it'll be like 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. You're already a few beers deep. It's game day on Sunday, and then the Oilers announce. Oh, actually, no, you want to do the reveal at the game.
Yeah, like he'll be out there for warm up, a little bit of a buzz. Like he might play.
You shouldn't even take warm up.
Starting lineup for your Edmonton Oilers at center.
He should warm up
Oh,
at
Tyler.
Rexall or at Rogers.
No, at Rexall.
Nickelback playing in the background.
Yeah.
Burn it to the ground. Connor McDavid comes out between flames onto the ice.
He's wearing a cape.
Not Calgary.
He's my
Yes.
hero.
He parachutes in.
All right.
Oh, that would be so good.
The chat asked for it, or someone just said something about a 16-leg parlay. So
Let's do it.
I'm going to give
Okay.
you guys mine.
I need to see the games, but I will give you
Here,
mine after.
I'll put it up.
I can't see it.
So here's my 16-legger. Leafs beat the Caps. Blue Jackets beat the Ducks. Sabres beat the Sens at plus 150. Over in Carolina, Tampa. Devils beat the Habs. Under in Dallas, Pitt. Over in San Jose, Florida. Colorado beats the Islanders. Kraken beat the Wings. Hawks plus 1.5 against the Bruins. Jets beat the Blues. Oilers beat the Wild. Vegas beats the Flyers. Yotes beat the Kings. Rangers beat the Flames. Canucks beat the Preds. $5 into 85 grand.
You've already figured that out?
Yep.
That's it.
That's my parlay.
Make it 10.
I already did it. 10 into 160 grand.
You know what? This show isn't long enough for the three of us to go through this. So, yeah.
I thought
All
we were
right.
just doing winners, and then Tyler started picking.
Yeah, and then he
puck
started.
line or
Yeah.
But you know he
wingers.
loves to tease the line and this and
I
that.
getting cute with it.
Surprised you didn't throw.
You know,
face-off
somebody
on
out there is going to hit a 16-team parlay tonight.
No. Oh,
Somebody
yeah.
You
out
think
there
so?
will.
Yeah.
Somebody, not us, but somebody. And
You
just
think
think
so?
that's what a night for sports gambling. You have to think somebody in all of North America for how much betting goes on.
But think about the odds.
hey, we'll wait
Uh,
tomorrow. We'll check our feeds.
And the odds plus 1.6 million.
No, then you'd win $8 million.
That'd be nice.
Oh, sorry. Plus, yeah.
Yeah. Come on, Jay. You got to move those decimal points.
Yeah, well, that's what's so dumb.
Shout out to Betway 19 plus.
So it's
Please play
16,000 to 1. There you go.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap up the show. New episode of Oilers Nation Radio going to be dropping this afternoon. Pre-gaming with Boardsy at 6 o'clock. Oilers Nation After Dark immediately following the game right here on the Oilers Nation YouTube. As always, we are live from the Sports Closet studio. This has been a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show. Need to give some love to Wendy, Star Mechanical, Betway, and Alberta Blue Cross. Also, these guys, Crown Royal. Tuesday night, 16 games. I did this on DFO Live, but just close your eyes. You're sitting on your couch, feet kicked up, Crown and Cola in one hand, phone in the other hand, Wendy's order all primed up on DoorDash. That's your evening.
How am I gonna eat it? If I have my hand as a phone and crap.
Well, once you're done ordering the DoorDash, you can put your phone away.
Okay, yeah, good point. Sounds nice.
We got you covered.
I am peckish
take-
already, so
Nowadays, you're peckish?
well, no, right now.
Yeah, I'm hungry too. But luckily for me, I have a bag of pizza for dinner for lunch today. So I'll get into this bag of pizza. That's not the only food related or food and drink related thing I want to do. Aaron, get on camera. Aaron brought himself an iced coffee today and said, "Oh, I didn't do dishes." So his iced coffee.
He's got a problem with me bringing a jar.
Aaron, that's just a pickle jar of iced coffee.
Yeah.
First off, that's so much iced coffee.
So you made it at home?
I had already had coffee, and then I wanted to get nice coffee on my way in here. I didn't have anything to pour it into, so I said, "Hey, I'm gonna grab this jar right here." And Mr. Yaremchuk over here,
I think that's insane.
he's got an issue with it. And then
You're gonna
the
be
funny
up all
part
night.
is Kennedy brought me this as well.
Put it in your jug.
Jeez, you're going to be buzzing
Yeah, you're.
or
Hey,
crashing.
I go all day, all night. Leaf starts at 9 a.m. I gotta do after
It's
dark
a long
too.
day for you, yeah. All right, well, there you go. Aaron and
It's been a
his
long day. Something. This was a song of a band I can't remember. It's a musical.
Someone wants to know where my liter of cola is.
every day.
I didn't finish it yesterday.
I can't believe you just interrupted my
That was
musical
so
interlude.
good. Reminded me of School of Rock.
Hey, Nova rides with
Great
me.
film.
Great film. They should have made a trilogy out of
Should have
that.
made it. Yes. Jack Black is amazing.
Let's rock today.
I'm going to give Ben the last comment. He says, Janmark on the first line, just saw. What are we doing? We forgot to break that down. So apologies. That's going to be a wrap. It is 1
The
o'clock.
chat has my back.
I know it does. Yeah. Thanks to everyone who tuned in today. We hit our like goal of 100 as well. We'll chat with everyone later tonight on Pre-Gaming with Boardsy. See you then.
Thank you for watching Oilers Nation Every Day. Hit the subscribe button to never miss a show. And for more, visit OilersNation.com.